All right, I'm here with Julie Harmon and Bronwyn Buswell from Peak Parent Center in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and they're going to talk with us about the upcoming Conference on Inclusive Education. And we're going to start with a question. Talk about the philosophy of the Peak Conference and give us a little background about the conference.
Okay. This is going to be the 23rd annual Conference on Inclusive Education that Peak Parent Center has done. It's a conference obviously focusing on inclusive education and best practice around education for all students, with specific interest for kids that have IEPs or qualify for services under IEPs or 504s. The conference is February 12th through the 14th, 2009, and the conference is in Denver, Colorado. We do pull a lot of people from the state of Colorado for the conference, but it is a national conference that Peak does. We get people from all over the country who come, as well as other countries. We've had people from Canada, England, other countries. I think that's so it's a very big conference. We expect about between 800 and 1,000 people have come in the past, and so we're looking forward to it this year.
All right, the next question for our Take 5 readers is, who are the speakers that you'd like to highlight that are coming to the conference, and if you could give us some information about the different strands or topics that will be covered at the conference.
Yeah, we'll have 4 different keynote sessions at this year's conference on Friday and Saturday. The keynote presenters are photoed on the cover of our brochure, and I'll give you a little info about each one of them. Keith Jones, who was featured in the documentary Including Samuel. I don't know how many of you have seen that. I would recommend it if you haven't. But he's a self-advocate with cerebral palsy who started an organization called Soul Touching Experiences that just brings publicity and insight to issues that affect people with disabilities, particularly transition-aged and older. So we're excited to have him. He'll be keynoting on Friday. And we'll have William or Bill Henderson from Boston, Massachusetts. He is the principal of an elementary school called O'Hearn Elementary School that serves a very diverse population of students, and he's been involved in education with many roles for about 30 years in the Boston area. We're going to have Opa Longa, who is a storyteller by trade from Denver, Colorado, and brings up a lot of interesting themes within sort of inclusion, cultural diversity, storytelling, and how we all kind of relate and bring something different to the world that needs to be honored and repeated. And then we're going to have a session from a father-daughter team, Eleanor and Michael Bailey, who have spoken at a past technical assistance conference, so some of you might have seen them before. But Eleanor is a college student at Portland State University, as well as a self-advocate with Down syndrome, who also works for the Northwest Down Syndrome Association. And her father, Michael, is the author of a book related to special education, helping parents kind of navigate the complex web of special education. And he also sits on the board of directors for the National Disability Rights Network in Washington, D.C. And both Opa Longa and Eleanor and Michael will present on Saturday. In addition to our featured keynoters, we also have some different session strands. A lot of sessions obviously geared towards strategies for making inclusion successful in classrooms, and one of the many featured presenters for that is Michael Remus, and he was one of our keynoters last year, and he is both a parent of 2 children with disabilities, and he's a former state director of special education. Now he's the director of special ed for a school district in Phoenix, so he's worn many hats throughout the years. We're also going to have sessions on sort of post-secondary options for students with disabilities, and I mean all students, including one session that's going to present a model on a post-secondary, so a college inclusion program that's happening in Massachusetts, which is really exciting. And we're going to have some sessions related to autism, including one session from one of our board members, Christy Costa-Hendrickson, who's going to talk about access to different communication options for people with developmental disabilities and especially with autism. So that's going to be really exciting. And then we're going to have sessions related to cultural diversity, cultural competency, things like that, including sessions about disproportionality, English language learners, young in early childhood and throughout, and the keynote from Opalanga obviously will deal with culture too, like I mentioned. And finally, we have sort of an expanded assistive technology presence this year. We're going to have a lab that is going to have a lot of devices, assistive technology devices that parents and teachers can actually try out and speak with the vendors for. So that's really exciting. And then we're also going to have a couple of sessions related to assistive technology, which is obviously really important for especially learners with disabilities. So those are kind of a few of the Strand highlights, but obviously there's a lot more sessions that are going to be there, and so do you want to tell them maybe how they could find out more info about that?
Is that your next question?
Yeah, it is actually.
So you can have this in your hot hands as well. This is the conference brochure and can be downloaded at the PEAK website at www.peakparent.org. There's also registration information on there. There's information about just the things happening at the conference. You can email conference@peakparent.org to get more information about specific speakers or to find out more information about the conference.
Great. Thank you both very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.